Alright, my Tabor City home here. Today we are giving an update on the basket case chipper shredder. And we've been working on this project for a while. I've had a couple people comment on the on some of the videos and kind of see where we were with it. And a couple people obviously are working on these things on their own. So we have an update, and our update is that on the impeller we have finally gotten the impeller free from the shaft from the other piece there. Now the shaft that was on there is a keyed shaft. It's not, as you can see, it's not a threaded shaft, it's just keyed. It was keyed down in here. So man, we went through a time with this thing. So there's a fella, great guy. His name's Terry Watts. He's here in town. He owns a machine shop. If you ever need anything in the world fixed, take it there, you know. But I took it down there and I said, Terry, I just can't get this thing out. I mean, those of you who watched the video where I strapped it to a tree and then took the backhoe arm and tried to pull the impeller wheel off of the motor, know that I ripped the motor apart, and the shaft with part of the crank was still hanging out the back end of this impeller. This thing was just made harder than the woodpecker's lips. So I took it down there. It sat in the garage for a while. I've had a lot of other things going on. So I took it down there to Terry, and I said, Terry, I can't get this thing out. I don't own a acetylene torch. Can you heat it up and see if maybe we can get it out? And I'd put a screw back in there or a bolt back in there and beat on it with a sledgehammer. Everything I think of, soaked it in oil, everything. So we heated it up with a torch, quenched it with cold water, nothing. We took a piece of steel and made a pin, put it down in there, put it in a 30-ton press. No bueno. I mean, we just weren't getting this thing out. Again, I'll say it. If you're the fella who puts impellers on motors of Craftsman chipper shredders at the apartment, at the factory, buddy, my hat's off to you. You are a beast. You are a real American, because there was just nothing we were going to do to get this off. As you can see, again, I'm telling you that this thing is not threaded. It's just put on there. So Terry ended up having to take a grinder and basically grind all this material off of here. And so basically what the deal is that we're going to mount this. We're going to check it on the new shaft for the new motor we bought. We bought a Predator motor from Harbor Freight. We're going to put this thing on. I think the other motor was a 4.5 horse. The new Predator, I want to say, is a 6.7. I'm not absolutely certain about that. But we're gonna go ahead and test fit the shaft for the Predator motor. Should be a 1-inch shaft, but we'll see. Test fit that shaft on there. Make sure that we got all the keying right. Everything else good to go. Once we're sure that the shaft will fit, everything's good, we're gonna go ahead and take this piece back on here, and then MIG weld it back up, and make it all pretty and everything. And then we'll key and fit this back onto the motor. So that's kind of where we're at. To be honest with you, when I started the whole chipper shredder thing, I really kind of hoped to do that project fairly quickly. Life seems to do that to me. Anytime I think I'm going to have a quick project, it don't end up that way. But I was really kind of hoping to knock that one out fairly quickly and then start trimming up all these bushes and putting them through the chipper shredder and using all that product as mulch in the garden beds. So, here we are, June, and we don't have this project done yet. And obviously we've had to go through and do some trimming and things like that already. So I put this back to the front of the line just to try to see if I could get this done. So anyways, that's our update. I hope once I get to working on this thing, I'll be able to bring you guys along, and we'll see how we end up. The only other thing I will say is that we had to free all these I call them hammers, but we had to free all these up. We got them all freed up. So I don't know. My initial plan was soda blast this clean, and then paint it, It really, as far as flaky kind of rust, I think I might just hit it with a wire wheel real quick on the parts that I can reach, and then just paint it with some Rust-Oleum. You know, again, this project's taken way longer than what I initially thought it was going to. The housing that it sits in, I do plan on painting because it'll be exposed to the elements. But that's kind of where we're at on the update with the basket case chipper shredder. We finally made a little bit of a movement, so I thought I'd bring you guys along and let you know. Anyways, let's get outside. Let's do something, fix something, build something with our hands, dig in the dirt. You know, America's not a disposable nation. My Tabor City home to you. God bless.